How to lower blood sugar quickly. It's one of the most searched health questions in the world, and usually it's searched in a moment of stress. You check your glucose. The number is higher than expected, maybe much higher. Your heart rate rises. You wonder, what do I do right now? First, take a breath, because lowering blood sugar quickly is possible, but it must be done intelligently. Most people panic, they skip meals, they drink random miracle drinks. They overexercise, they cut everything at once. That approach often backfires. The goal is not shock. The goal is signal control. Here's what you need to understand. High blood sugar is not random. It is a predictable physiological response to food, hormones, stress, sleep, and movement. And the fastest way to lower it depends on why it is elevated. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what actually causes sudden glucose spikes, the fastest safe ways to lower blood sugar naturally, what works within minutes, what works within hours, and what you should avoid when numbers are high. Because when you understand the mechanism, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. Let's begin with what is happening inside your body when blood sugar rises. Why blood sugar rises in the first place. Before you try to lower blood sugar quickly, you need to understand why it rises, because the cause determines the fastest solution. Blood sugar rises when glucose enters the bloodstream faster than your cells can absorb it. That usually happens after a high carbohydrate meal, liquid sugar consumption, stress or anxiety, poor sleep, illness or inflammation, physical inactivity. When you eat carbohydrates, they break down into glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream within minutes. Your pancreas detects the rise and releases insulin. Insulin's job is simple. It moves glucose out of the bloodstream and into cells to be used as energy. But if your cells are less sensitive to insulin, a condition called insulin resistance, the process slows down. The pancreas compensates by releasing more insulin. If the meal was large or rapidly absorbed, blood sugar may spike sharply before insulin catches up. Now here's something many people don't realize. Stress alone can raise blood sugar even without food. When you feel anxious, rushed, or threatened, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones signal your liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream. It's a survival mechanism. Your body thinks you need energy to fight or run. So if your glucose reading is high, ask yourself, did I eat something that spikes quickly? Am I stressed? Did I sleep poorly? Have I been sitting all day? Because the fastest correction depends on which of these is active. There is no universal magic drink. There is physiology. And when blood sugar is elevated in the moment, your goal is simple. Increase glucose clearance, reduce further glucose input, lower stress signaling, and there is one intervention that begins working within minutes. Let's talk about the fastest natural way to pull glucose out of the bloodstream immediately. The fastest way to lower blood sugar right now, if your blood sugar is elevated and you want to lower it quickly, the fastest natural intervention is movement, specifically light to moderate muscle contraction. Here's why this works so effectively. When your muscles contract, even during something as simple as walking, they activate a separate glucose transport pathway that does not depend on insulin. This is critical. Normally, glucose enters cells with the help of insulin binding to receptors, but during muscle contraction, specialized transporters called GLUT4 move to the surface of muscle cells independently of insulin. In simple terms, your muscles can pull glucose directly out of the bloodstream without waiting for insulin. That means even if you are insulin resistant, movement still works. So what should you do? A 10 to 20 minute brisk walk is ideal. Not a sprint, not intense cardio, not exhaustion, just steady movement. If you cannot go outside, walk in place, climb stairs, do light bodyweight squats, march in your living room. The goal is sustained contraction of large muscle groups. Leg muscles are particularly powerful because they represent one of the largest glucose sinks in the body, and timing matters. If the spike just happened after a meal, move immediately. If you wake up with high fasting glucose, move before breakfast. If stress caused the spike, combine movement with slow breathing. Studies show that even short post-meal walks reduce glucose spikes significantly more than longer exercise sessions performed hours later, because you are targeting the spike window. Many people see measurable drops within 15 to 30 minutes of starting movement, not because you burned calories, but because you activated glucose uptake in real time. This is why movement is the #1 emergency tool. But there's something equally important. Stop adding fuel while the spike is happening. Let's talk about what you should not do when blood sugar is high. What not to do when blood sugar is high. When you see a high number on your glucose monitor, your instinct may be to react quickly, but some reactions actually make the situation worse. Let's go through what not to do. First, do not panic. Stress hormones, especially cortisol and adrenaline, directly increase blood sugar. When you panic, your body perceives a threat. The liver responds by releasing stored glucose into the bloodstream. So anxiety about the number can push the number higher. Take slow breaths, extend your exhale, calm your nervous system. Lowering stress lowers glucose. Second, do not eat more carbohydrates. This may sound obvious, but many people respond to fatigue from a glucose spike by grabbing something sweet. After a spike, insulin may overshoot and cause a rapid drop. That drop feels like hunger or weakness. If you immediately add more carbohydrates, you create another spike. Instead, if you must eat, choose protein or fiber-based foods that minimally impact glucose. Third, do not drink juice, even natural juice. Liquid sugar absorbs rapidly and can worsen spikes quickly. Water is the correct choice. Hydration helps circulation and supports glucose regulation. Fourth, do not overcorrect with extreme exercise. High-intensity workouts can temporarily increase blood sugar in some individuals because stress hormones rise during intense exertion. For acute spikes, steady movement is better than aggressive workouts. Fifth, do not stack meals too closely together. If blood sugar is elevated, give your body time to bring it down before eating again. Constant grazing keeps insulin elevated and prevents stabilization. Now here's something important. If your blood sugar is extremely high, especially above levels your healthcare provider has identified as dangerous and accompanied by symptoms like nausea, vomiting, rapid breathing, or confusion, seek medical attention immediately. Natural strategies are supportive, not substitutes for emergency care. But for most moderate spikes, calm movement, hydration, and no additional carbohydrate input are the fastest stabilizers. Now let's talk about something that can accelerate glucose reduction even further over the next few hours. How to lower blood sugar over the next few hours. Once you've activated immediate movement and avoided adding more glucose, the next goal is to improve insulin efficiency for the next several hours. This is where structure matters. First, extend your fasting window slightly. If your blood sugar is elevated after a meal, allow your body time to clear that glucose before introducing new food. This doesn't mean extreme fasting, it simply means don't snack. Every time you eat, insulin rises again. If insulin is already elevated from the previous meal, stacking another rise prolongs the spike. Give your system time to reset. Second, prioritize hydration. Water improves blood volume and circulation, which supports glucose transport and kidney filtration. When glucose levels are moderately elevated, adequate hydration helps the body eliminate excess glucose through urine more efficiently. Small, steady water intake is better than chugging large amounts at once. Third, reduce refined starch for your next meal. If your last meal was heavy in bread, rice, pasta, or processed grains, your next meal should focus on protein, non-starchy vegetables, and healthy fats. This reduces the insulin demand of the next glucose wave. Remember, blood sugar control is cumulative. One high-carb meal doesn't destroy your progress, but repeating high-demand meals back-to-back amplifies the problem. Fourth, prioritize protein. Protein stimulates far less glucose rise than carbohydrates and provides satiety. A protein-forward meal stabilizes hunger and prevents rebound eating. Fifth, improve sleep the following night. Poor sleep increases cortisol, and cortisol raises blood sugar. One night of improved sleep can noticeably stabilize fasting glucose the next morning. Lower screen exposure before bed. Stop eating 2 to 3 hours before sleep. Create a dark, cool sleep environment. These changes influence glucose more than most people realize. Now here's the bigger picture. Lowering blood sugar quickly is useful, but preventing repeated spikes is transformative. Let's talk about how to create stability instead of constantly reacting. How to prevent future spikes. Lowering blood sugar quickly is important, but preventing the spike in the first place is far more powerful, because every spike triggers insulin, and repeated insulin surges reinforce insulin resistance over time. So the long-term strategy is not emergency control, it's signal management. First, structure your meals properly. A balanced plate reduces glucose volatility dramatically. Start with protein. Add non-starchy vegetables. Then, if needed, include a controlled portion of low glycemic carbohydrates. This order matters. Eating protein and fiber before carbohydrates slows glucose absorption and reduces spike magnitude. Second, reduce liquid sugar completely. Juice, soda, sweetened coffee drinks, energy beverages, these produce rapid spikes and high insulin demand. Water, unsweetened tea, and black coffee should be your default options. Third, stop constant snacking. Every snack triggers insulin. If you eat 5 or 6 times per day, insulin rarely returns to baseline. Fewer eating occasions mean fewer spikes. A structured 3-meal pattern without grazing allows insulin levels to drop between meals. Fourth, incorporate resistance training 2 to 3 times per week. Muscle tissue is a glucose reservoir. The more muscle mass you maintain, the more capacity your body has to clear glucose efficiently. This does not require heavy lifting. Bodyweight squats, push-ups, light weights, resistance bands, consistency matters more than intensity. Fifth, manage stress actively. Chronic stress elevates cortisol. Cortisol increases glucose production in the liver. Even if your diet is perfect, Unmanaged stress can raise blood sugar. Simple breathing exercises, daily walks, structured relaxation. These are metabolic tools, not luxuries. Now understand this. Blood sugar is reactive. Insulin is regulatory. When you regulate insulin exposure through structured eating, movement, hydration, stress control, and proper sleep, blood sugar becomes easier to manage. You stop fighting numbers and start influencing the system. Let's bring everything together. Lowering blood sugar quickly is not about extremes, it's about strategy. If your glucose is high right now, remember the sequence. Move your body, hydrate, stop adding fuel, stay calm. That alone can reduce a spike within minutes. Then over the next few hours, avoid snacking, prioritize protein, reduce refined starch, support sleep, and long-term, structure your meals, walk after eating, lift weights a few times per week, limit liquid sugar, manage stress intentionally. Your body is not failing, it is responding to signals. When glucose rises, it is communicating, and when you change the signals, the response changes. Most people focus only on the number they see on the monitor, but blood sugar is downstream. Insulin, stress hormones, sleep, movement, and food timing are upstream. Control the upstream factors, and the downstream numbers stabilize, not overnight, not perfectly, but predictably. If this helped you understand how to lower blood sugar safely and effectively, subscribe. In the next video, we're breaking down why one healthy breakfast may be sabotaging your glucose all morning and what to replace it with. Now tell me, when your blood sugar runs high, what do you usually do first?